Welcome back, J4K. I hope y'all ready to praise God. Come on and lift those hands up and stand to your feet. Come on now.
Our first song is Every Move I Make.
All right now. Come on. You ready to praise God? Clap those hands together. Woo! Come on, come on, come on, come on. We gotta move on this song. Woo! for the Savannah show, in which there will be a special guest, Queen Esther. Get ready, have a seat.
Welcome back to another episode of the Savannah show. Welcome our special guest, Queen Esther. How are you today? I know you've traveled many centuries to be here today.
Oh, I'm doing so well. I'm a little tired from going through that time capsule. Oh my gosh, it was thousands and thousands of years. But I'm doing good. I'm doing good considering. Thanks for asking and thanks for having me.
Yes. First question is, what was your king's name?
Well, my king's name was Ahasuerus, but he was also known as King Xerxes because that was his Persian name.
Okay. Where did he reign?
Well, where he reigned, first of all, he was over 127 provinces between India and Ethiopia, which that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
That's a big kingdom. And his kingdom where he sat on the throne was in Shushan, the citadel. So it was a beautiful, beautiful, huge kingdom.
Was Esther always your name?
No, that's a good question. My name was Hadassah, but everyone knew me as Queen Esther. And the reason I had to hide that is because it was a Jewish name.
So Queen Esther, how did you become queen?
Oh, well, that's a little bit of a longer story. Well, before me, there was Queen Vashti. And of course, she was married to King Xerxes. Well, he did this thing where he would show off his kingdom to the Media and Persian people, his officials and servants. And he would do this like to the nobles and princes and everything. He showed off his kingdom for about 180 days, I think, in his third year of reigning as king. So 180 days, he was showing off his kingdom and everything like that. And then at the end of that 180 days, he did a 7-day feast for people of all types of places, whether you were a prince or just a servant or whatever. And he did this wonderful feast. And as a result, Vashti, Queen Vashti, had her own little thing that she did for the women. And with that said, I guess they were celebrating, if I can remember everything correctly, they were celebrating, and the king, King Xerxes, asked for Queen Vashti to come, to see all of his guests in front of his guests during this 7-day feast. But she refused. She refused to come, and that's a big thing to do to a king. As a result, he was very angry with her about it. And so he was advised that letting her get away with that would be a bad example, not only for his kingdom, but for other wives and queens and different things like that. So with that said, they said to him, you should dethrone her, which means no longer allow her to be queen. And so as a result, he called for different women who were available, that were single, like myself. And so they came to try to pretty much see if they could be the next queen. And my uncle, Mordecai, who raised me, encouraged me to do that. And that's why my name went from Hadassah to Esther. So when I went to register to be one of the people considered to be queen, and one of the women considered to be queen, I went under Esther, not queen yet at that time. But I went under Esther instead of Hadassah because I didn't want it to be known that I was Jewish, because that wasn't the popular thing to be. Because that wasn't our original nation. It wasn't Israel.
Wow, that's a very interesting story.
Yeah, so eventually, of course, I was picked to be queen because he favored me. And there were many other women there. But he loved me and for my beauty and my pureness of heart. And he picked me and he crowned me queen. And I found favor in the sight of his officials who were even looking at me to see if I deserved to be queen along with the other women. So the favor of God was on me for a big, special purpose.
Wow. Well, did he know you were Jewish?
No, he didn't, because I went under Esther instead of Hadassah. But later on, he did find that out, which we'll talk about a little bit later, I guess, in your interview. But yes, he didn't know that I was Jewish because of my name change.
Mm-hmm. Now, how long was preparation to go before the king?
Wow. All of us ladies who went before the king, it took 12 months of preparation, in which, yes, 12 months of preparation just to appear before the king. And in that preparation time, we were taught to be how we would act in front of the king and everything. And we went through a beautification process of women that they had, and where they taught you how to be beautiful and all of that. And that included us being showered with oil and myrrh and perfumes, because you had to be perfect and smell perfect for the king. So it was quite the process, 12 months of getting ready just to go before the king, not even knowing if you would get picked.
Wow. What made the king pick you?
He thought I was so beautiful, and he favored me amongst all of the other women. It was me that he picked out of all the women there, and wow, I was so blown away by that. I mean, what an honor to be picked. And I did exactly what I was told by the people who helped prepare me through the beautification process. And we had an opportunity to choose a piece from the king's house that we could take. And I didn't try to, be greedy and take the most expensive jewelry, to show and put on myself before the king. And he found favor in me because of that. So I was just so honored.
How did you save your people?
Wow. It took a lot of guts to do that. Well, just so you understand, there was a man named Haman. He became the king's, I guess you want to say, right-hand man, advisor or whatever. And he did a decree where you had to kind of like bow down and I guess worship Haman. Well, of course, being a Jew, you can only worship God. You don't worship any other God. So my uncle Mordecai refused to bow down to him. Well, this made Haman so angry. He hated him. And then he began to hate the Jewish people as well, because he hated what we stood for, And so with that said, he wanted to devise a horrible plan to destroy the Jewish people, which were my people. But he didn't know that, because I went by Queen Esther instead of my Jewish name, Hadassah. So what ended up happening was he was trying to destroy my uncle. He really hated my uncle. So my uncle came to me and let me know that this man planned to destroy our people and that I needed to go before the king. But you can never go before a king without him calling you to come, which is called summoning you. And if he didn't call you to come and you went before him, it could mean death, unless he stretched out his golden scepter, which is kind of like a staff with like a little kind of ball on it, And if he didn't put his golden scepter out for the person who broke that rule, that was really dangerous for them. That could mean death. So it took a lot of courage for me to go, because it had been 30 days before he would ask me to come before him, even as the queen. This same thing can happen to you if you go before the king when you're not supposed to. If you go before his throne in his inner court, the most sacred place for a king. Well, my uncle Mordecai said, you need to do this for your people, because even if you try to save yourself, in the end, your house is not going to be blessed, and God will use someone else to save the people, but then you're not going to be blessed. So I asked him to go back and ask the Jewish people, my people, to fast for 3 days. And my ladies that assist me in the house in my kingdom, they fasted as well, because I really needed us to really pray and ask God to protect me before I would do something like this. So Haman was so angry with my uncle that he planned on taking out our entire people and destroying them. Well, the king didn't realize he was doing all of this, because he was kind of tricky in the way that he would word things. So that one day I was so brave, and I go into his inner court, and I'm standing in the back. I go into the inner court, he's on the throne, and everybody's like, oh my God, you cannot come in here without the king telling you to come. But thank God I found favor, because he loved me so much. He stretched out that golden scepter, which meant I can come before him without being punished for coming without him calling me. And so I went up to him. He asked, what is it that you want? And he said, he favored me and loved me so much. He said, I will give you whatever you ask, up to half of the kingdom, which I told you he was over 127 provinces. And so remember what happened to Queen Vashti when she didn't come when he called her. So I was afraid of what would happen if I came and he didn't even call me. Well, I told him, I would like to have a little dinner, a banquet, for
for you, and please ask Haman, your assistant and advisor, to join us. Well, that was going to be my opportunity to tell the king what Haman had planned. Well, Haman just thought, wow, I'm just going to be honored. I get to only me go to this banquet. He had no idea because he was so, I guess you want to say, conceited, you know, for lack of a better word. And so he was still angry with my Uncle Mordecai because he wouldn't bow before him. So he had planned to really hurt my uncle. And his wife was one that helped him come up with that plan, because he didn't realize what God was about to do to turn our situation around, using me to do that. And so what ended up happening is my Uncle Mordecai saved the king at one time, because two of his servants had planned to hurt him and poison him. Well, one day he was reading some of the books that showed that my Uncle Mordecai actually saved him that day, because he came to tell me, warn the king that these two men are trying to poison him. Well, when he did that, that saved the king, and he said he never got honored for that. So he called Haman back before I had the banquet with Haman, and he asked Haman, what would you do to honor someone who saved the king? Well, Haman thought it was for him, so he said, I would parade him around, put the most beautiful ring on his finger, and let everyone know that what he did. Well, when Haman found out that it was my Uncle Mordecai that he was talking about, oh, he was even more angry, because now he had to parade around the man that he could not stand the most because he refused to bow down to him. And so that was quite something. You know how God turns things around for you and takes care of the enemies. So with that said, I had this banquet dinner after that happened. Haman was already so mad, he couldn't wait to punish Mordecai and the Jewish people. And so when they sat down, I made a wonderful dinner with my ladies that assist me. And what ended up happening is the king asked me, what is it that I want? And I said, someone has planned to hurt me and my people. I still didn't tell him I was talking about the Jewish people, because he didn't know I was Jewish. And so after that, all of that happened, I told him, it's Haman. He's trying to hurt my people. And Haman's like, what? Like, I don't even know your people. And that's when I revealed that I was Jewish. And the king didn't know what to do with all of this information, so he had to like step out for a moment. And then Haman started to beg me, please don't let him hurt me and everything. Now he was afraid for his own life, and he went across me and was pulling on me and doing all this stuff that is very disrespectful to do to any queen or king. And my husband, the king, King Xerxes, came in, and he noticed that he was doing that. And he said, do you do this and disrespect the queen while I am here in my house? And at that moment, the king put a decree. Instead of the Jewish people getting hurt, he made it where Haman had to go and suffer the punishment that he had put out for the Jewish people, for him and his whole household. And so my Jewish people were saved. And he put something in writing that protects us and protected us, so that didn't happen to us again while he reigned and was king. So that's how I saved my people that day. I was very brave to stand before a king when you're not supposed to. And as a result, God protected me because we prayed and fasted. And the king turned everything around. And Haman, the one who meant harm for us, ended up falling into his own trap that he planned for us. Wow. It was a wonderful day. The Jewish people were excited. We rejoiced and we praised God, because God has saved me and put me in that position as queen for such a time as that.
Wow. What a brave thing to do, Queen Esther. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Join us next time on The Savannah Show when we talk about how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. See you next time. I hope you guys enjoyed Kids Church today. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when we post.
And get ready for our celebration song that we do at the end. We see you next time.
We got so much love. Don't look to the left or right. You know the future's worth the fight. Don't look to the left or right. L-O-V-E rolls off the tongue. But sometimes the word's just not enough. Gotta dig a little deeper.
Welcome back to another episode of The Savannah Show. Welcome our special guest. Oh, I forgot to use the mic.
We should look like we're like, you know what I mean? Like you have a, well, my king's name was, okay, all right, come on.
All right, I'm ready. I gotta stop.